Tough girl. You have what it takes, boy? Not me. If I'm going to list things about myself, some characteristics, I'd start with patience, persistence, maybe even prudence, not toughness. I'm not used to pain. I'm a skinny computer programmer. So it might have been a little bit of a flight of fancy when I signed up for Tough Mudder, the so-called toughest event on the planet. Some of you are saying, what's Tough Mudder? Well, it's an 11.5-mile run through the hills of Temecula, along which you encounter 24 sadistic obstacles designed by British Special Forces, and they're designed to hurt you. One of them was a dive into ice water. There's a trough, dive in, crawl through the other side. When you get in, it's so cold, it's hard to move. But a tip from experience, staying put is not a good option. Another one is a crawl through a pit of mud on your hands and knees. Above you is barbed wire. Oh yeah, and there's these electrified wires hanging down, just waiting to give you a shock. You may have heard the song Moves Like Kramer. Moves Like Jagger. This is like Moves Like Kramer. So it was tough, and I had to wonder, was there anything I'd done in my life to this point which prepared me to tackle Tough Mudder? Well, back in 2009, I decided I'm going to train for a marathon. So I started getting up on Saturdays and doing the runs. After a while, it was pretty hard, and I decided I'm going to train for a half marathon instead. So I didn't finish the half marathon because of an injury. Well, in 2010, I gave it another go, and this time I did finish. They give you these nice medals when you finish. It's nice, weighty metal. And that was great. So was I prepared for Tough Mudder because I'd done a half marathon? Well, the Tough Mudder folks don't think so. It says right on their website. You can go look. You marathon runners don't impress us. Just because you can move your knees for a bunch of miles, you probably still have the upper body strength of Keira Knightley. That's probably a fair point. Now, aside from endurance races, I've done some novelty races. Maybe those would help me. The Krispy Kreme Challenge. I ate 12 donuts in a row, and that's really hard. At the red dress run, I showed I had the temerity to walk through the streets of downtown wearing, yes, a red dress. So do those prepare me? Well, you know, the red dress run was really more about drinking beer than being fit. I don't like beer. The Krispy Kreme Challenge was really an excellent demonstration of the power of my stomach. But no matter how I spin it, I can't imagine how that was going to help me for Tough Mudder. So I'm not sure I was prepared based on any life experience. But let's put aside finishing for a moment. You know what I was actually afraid of? I was afraid of injuring myself. If you look at the obstacles you're going to go through, I saw lots of potential for falling and breaking an ankle and spraining a knee. I paid money. I didn't want to go out there and injure myself. Didn't sound like fun. And then I made a second foolhardy decision. I went over to the computer, opened up the Google, and I typed in Tough Mudder injury. So I read the horror stories, and they were bad. It was scary. There was broken bones, of course. There was dislocations, flaps of skin ripped off, even a couple deaths due to heat stroke. But you know, in a way, it was also empowering. Because if I know what went wrong for others, then I know how I can avoid those mistakes for myself. I decided to use those horror stories, and they were, to make myself prepared rather than to feed my fears. And then I talked to a friend of mine. He should have done Tough Mudder with me. But he gave me some great advice. He said, there's a lot of people out there that are stronger than me, but not so many that are tougher. And if you remember, I gave myself some credit for being persistent and patient. And those are kind of toughness too. That's mental toughness. And I think that's the most important kind. So let's review again. How ready was I for Tough Mudder, and how did it actually go down? Well, I had a good running foundation. So when mile 10 came around and the people around me were huffing and puffing, I was still going strong. And I had that information. So I knew when I saw those obstacles come up, I wasn't intimidated. I knew I could tackle them safely. And finally, I had mental toughness. So as the race started to feel like a grind, I knew that I had what it takes to get to the end where they were just going to get another medal. Oh, Tough Mudder doesn't give medals. They give you this. A little bit cheesy. But you know, it does represent that I had made that accomplishment. It reminds me, I was tough enough to finish the race. Not only that, the day before the race, I suffered a strained pectoral muscle. And I still did it. So I guess I'm tough after all. During the race, during the obstacles, you'd see these military-style guys, drill sergeant types with bullhorns, and they'd be in your face. Hurry up! Come on, you sissy! What, you're not tough enough? But you know, those guys didn't scare me at all. I was prepared, and I was tough. I found out that day, I am a tough guy.